Is Daughters of the Great Migration, a podcast series.
I'm Felicia Studstill, your host.
And I'm Heather Buchanan, your other host. Each episode of Daughters of the Great Migration shares stories about you, about us, about our community. We are the legacy of our relatives who journeyed north for a better chance.
And at the end of each show, we'll list the ways you can get in touch with us. We enjoy hearing from you.
This weekend, America celebrates the 4th of July. We all have different memories of how we've celebrated over the years.
Yet some things are the same for every family. The food, the favorite yard or park where we gather, the music, and the food.
Yes, the food. A cookout last night was blasting. You Can Ring My Bell, and then later the blues started around 9:30. So the celebrations are all weekend long.
But you can't play the blues too early. We
Right,
talked about that, right? You
right.
cannot.
There are rules.
I've been had my hand slapped for playing Al Green too early in the mix. I'm telling you. So
Yes,
don't take it for
yes,
granted.
yes. I'm always waiting for these last $2. That was my little song. I love
Right.
that.
And the
Oh,
fireworks. Don't forget
oh
the
yes, and the
fireworks.
fireworks, of
It's been
course.
going. We've had our warm up that's been going on for
Yes.
some weeks.
Oh
So it's
yes.
not just the light, but the sound and the smell of the smoke and gunpowder.
Oh yes, it started
Yes,
around Memorial Day, so it's
yes,
it's uh it's going to be interesting this weekend. By the time we get through tomorrow night,
it is. Well, one of the things that I think is different now from when I was a kid is that a lot of the local municipalities make you stop at 11.
yes, yes,
So now and then you'll get a few people that run over. But I used to remember fireworks going all night long. It
yes,
felt like.
yes, yes, they did. Yes, they did. That is very true. So, in addition to traditional stories from our families, Felicia and I also share work that's more contemporary. And this weekend, I'm sharing something based on a true story. One of the great things I miss is how easy it was for us Detroiters to cross the international border into Canada. Before 2001, it was nothing for my family to cross the Ambassador Bridge to picnic and camp in what we simply called Canada. I used to collect the most delicate seashells at Holiday Beach. We visited the Amherstburg Freedom Museum, then known as the North American Black Historical Museum. We visited Toronto, which I still love today. And closer to home, we of course ate at favorite haunts such as Tunnel Barbecue in Windsor. A couple of times we attended what was then known as the International Freedom Festival from the Windsor side. It was fun to see festivities taking place on both sides of the Detroit River in honor of America's 4th of July and Canada's Canada Day. To me, it always seemed like the amusement rides were only on the Windsor side, but I swear my sister and I rode rides on the Detroit side as well. It was packed with people on both sides, an inspiring vision of friendship and cooperation between our two cities. And here's a story set back in those good times as a young woman in the late 1980s attends the festival on a date with her first real boyfriend. Please enjoy hearing about the power of love, fireworks, and keep sweat. This is Illuminations. As a child, Jenny watched the Detroit fireworks on TV with her family. She was always fascinated by the announcement that it was simulcast. During the show, her parents would call out the songs they recognized, which was every single one, especially Motown hits. Before long, however, in one brilliant flash of light, the show was over, the last embers floating in the night sky to distant simulcast applause. Now 17 years old, Janie was seeing the fireworks live for the first time on a date. It was Benji's idea to see the fireworks in Windsor, as he had never been before. Jenny had been introduced to Benji by her mother's friend on the next street. Jenny's mother was not too keen on the young man, as he was 19 and looked like a neighborhood type of guy from the east side. Jenny was quick to point out that Benji was only staying on Beaconsfield with his aunt for the summer, that he was up visiting from Atlanta. When Benji came to visit, he worked hard to win over Janie's mother with his yes ma'am southern charm. On a blanket in the Windsor Park under a hot sun, Janie noticed a small bald spot in the top of Benji's head. He was dozing at her side. She covered his head with his Detroit Pistons cap. Benji stirred. "What's up?" he murmured. "Nothing," Janie replied. "It's getting hot out here." "Show'll be starting soon," he said as he drifted back off. Janie's foot extended slightly beyond the edge of the blanket in the cool grass. The small radio she brought was playing Supersonic by J.J. Fad. "Hey, turn that up." Janie spun around to see Desmond, Benji's cousin. In his early 20s, Desi was hip and quite the ladies' man. Janie could tell how much Benji admired Desi, almost like a big brother. Benji did not have a car, so Desi drove him everywhere. Desi had been off on his own most of that afternoon to, in his own words, give y'all lovebirds time to yourselves. Besides, he wanted to see who he could meet in Windsor. The fireworks crowd had tripled in no time. Janie found herself in a sea of people all waiting for the big moment. People of all colors, from all walks of life, strolled along the concrete path beside the river. She looked beyond them across the blue water and saw tiny bodies in Detroit milling about beneath the glistening towers of the Renaissance Center. Janie eavesdropped on the people around her. She tried to guess if they were Canadian. She listened out for that telltale, eh? As the sky grew dark, a great stillness set in. Out of nowhere, a lone rocket soared high in the sky and burst open in a shower of red fire. Blooming giant flowers in a multitude of colors followed in succession. Booming pyrotechnics filled every inch of sky above 1 million heads in a shimmering canopy that covered the river from end to end. Janie snuggled up with Benji. A faint whiff of his Aramis cologne mingled with the smell of smoke from the show. Desi sat on the end of the blanket and watched the sky. For a somewhat cynical guy, he looked up in wonder like a child. Just as soon as it began, the show was over in one final ground-shaking boom of blinding white light. Later, deadlocked in traffic on the Ambassador Bridge toward the USA, back to Detroit, Janie hoped to get home at a reasonable time. She didn't want to give her mother a reason to doubt Benji. Benji was driving Desi's car, even though he didn't have a license. Restless in the back seat, Desi got started. "Dang, so this y'all last time together, your last night?" he asked. Janie picked up on Desi's slight taunt. "Don't put it like that," Benji said with irritation. I'll be back up here as soon as I can. I'm starting a new job down there." Janie resented Desi's Wiseman's certainty that a long-distance relationship wouldn't work. She knew that her mother would never, ever let her visit Benji in Atlanta, so she just had to wait for Benji to come back to Detroit. "So that's why you gave him that gift, Janie?" Desi teased. Janie froze in her seat. She didn't know that Desi knew she'd given Benji a gift the week before, after he told her he'd be leaving. It was a stainless steel ID bracelet with Benji's name engraved on it. Janie had seen it in a gift shop window at Eastland Mall on her work break. In the dark, Janie could tell that Benji was blushing. It suddenly occurred to her that she hadn't seen him wear the bracelet, not once. Oh yeah, the bracelet," Benji said. He kept his eyes on the road as he reached across Janie to open the glove compartment. She watched him pull out the blue velvet jewelry box and balance it atop his knee. Traffic picked up on the bridge and Benji edged the car forward with his left hand on the wheel. He fumbled with the box with his right hand. Janie was damned if she was going to help him. "Make It Last Forever," Janie's favorite song, played on the car radio. Benji deftly flipped the box open with a snap and freed the bracelet from the box. He whipped it around his left wrist and latched it shut with that same left hand. Janie was still steamed, but she was impressed. "See, I have it right here," Benji said. He took the wheel with his right hand and let his bejeweled left wrist dangle out the window. "And now everybody can see it." Janie stared into the lights of the duty-free store up ahead. In the back seat, Desi stifled a chuckle. For Janie, the water beneath the bridge had become a cosmic black hole. Benji took Janie's hand and kissed it, and all was forgiven on the spot. She knew that Benji, the Southern gentleman, would return to Detroit, to her, someday. Janie took Benji's cap and pitched it at Desi's head in the back seat. "Just like Keith Sweat is saying in this song right here," Benji said. You take moments like this and make them last forever. That was Illuminations from a short story collection coming soon called Outer Drive.
Those song references brought back so many memories. I'm gonna have to update my playlist when we're done. I'm gonna have
Yes,
to go back and play
yes.
some of those again. And when you talk about the rides, I remember how much of the summer that encompassed, from Edgewater Park when I was very little
Wow,
to
Edgewater.
where they had a giant slide and a roller coaster, to Belle Isle where they had a giant slide until just a
Oh,
few
yes,
years
the
ago.
giant slide. Yes, yes, I love the giant slide, but it would be the longest wait
Oh
to
yeah.
to
Oh my
to
goodness.
oh
Yes.
God. And then you're on there and then it's over.
Right.
It's over. But
But
Edgewater Park was a little before my time, but I remember it like a vague memory as a toddler, like seeing like I think the roller coaster go past me. But I know my family would talk about Edgewater all the time. So what was it like for you?
oh, it was fascinating. So uh, we'll take a quick break and I'll tell you more about the story as soon as we're back.
You're listening to Daughters of the Great Migration, sponsored by Daughters of the Great Migration LLC. And
Right.
we're
And we're
back. Okay.
back. So when I think of 4th of July, one, it's my birthday month. And I'm one of those people that as an adult
Ah,
thinks of it as like an 8-week series of festivals. So I love the 4th of July. It's one of my
that's
favorite
pretty
holidays.
fun.
But as a child, I
Uh,
remember so much. I have a big family. Both of my parents are from big families. So I have lots of aunts and uncles
mhm.
and lots and lots and lots of cousins. And I remember uh, hanging out with my older cousins, and most of my older cousins were, some were 20 years older than me, but most were at least, 10, 15 years older than
Mhm.
me at the time. And I just remember as a small child, going to Edgewater or going to Belle Isle for the giant slide and climbing. I was probably 4, maybe 5, and I was an unusually small and whiny child. I would just go with it. But I remember climbing up with this little burlap sack. You're climbing up to the very top of this slide, which felt
Yes,
like a
yes, yes,
mile
the
high.
burlap.
And just so I could get
Yes.
on this burlap sack with barely enough weight to get all the way down and just ride up and down,
Oh,
just
that's you could have flown off
you
of there. I'm
can,
realizing now.
exactly.
How
And I just
safe was
remember
that?
like just screaming and crying all the way down and getting in line to do it again. Um,
Awesome. Awesome. Yes, yes. We were so
yes,
excited to do it again. All of
just to
that
get up
work to get
there, and
up
I would
there,
be
you know?
just so enamored with them.
Mhm.
Uh, their big afros and the bell bottoms and the
Yes.
halters and the short shorts. My
Ah.
cousin had a pair of platform shoes that I swore I was going to buy when I grew up. I never actually got them. It's like red, white, and blue platform shoes. They had to be 6 inches high.
Oh, wow.
And I
Oh
remember
my
all of that.
gosh.
Um, I love the fireworks. I love that experience of going down to the fireworks. And if I was
Mhm.
going to go, I was more likely to go with my cousins than with my parents. And a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
Detroiters know for certain that if you are going to go to the fireworks on Belle Isle in particular, you really needed to be there about 10 o'clock in the morning and just plan on an all day picnic.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I
Yes.
remember that process. I'm going
Yes.
to take a quick moment. I don't want to hotep your holiday, but I do want to let you know that a lot of what I'm seeing on the internet about how the word picnic came to be isn't how it came to be. It's from the 1600s in France.
Mm.
And it was
Oh.
actually a term that they used for potluck pre French Revolutionary times, and it was actually something that could be indoors or out. But again, just checking this information. So just
Oh, that's fascinating. No, I had
but
not
yeah, so
heard
we
that.
would be out there
Amazing.
all day. Uh, We would go from the giant slide to the playground, back to the slide, run to eat. So what normally happened is that I was well asleep before the fireworks actually started. I was the child that was like knocked out on the blanket that they may or may not get to wake up in time to see any
Oh,
actual
that's
fireworks.
too funny. That is amazing.
Because,
Oh my gosh.
12 plus hours of food and sun will
Yes.
wipe out anyone. So it was
Yes. That is a good
so
point.
yes. So a couple
Oh,
of
that's a
times I
great
woke up at the
story.
very end to see a few things go off and, kind of fight with the throng to walk back to the car so I could fall asleep in the car on the way home. But those were my earliest fireworks memories.
Oh, what a great memory. And then the other funny thing is getting
Oh,
off of the island. That's
yes.
a whole nother thing.
Yes. But there's
Wow.
so many fun memories there and so many people. And it was
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
and that crush of people and barbecues everywhere and picnics everywhere. And at the time, particularly as a
Mm-hmm.
young child, everyone was so open and inviting. And it was just such a, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
freedom, just a really the
Yes.
Belle Isle Aquarium was open at the time. The zoo was still open, so there was just
That's
so
right.
so
That's
much to
right.
do. So it was easy to spend all day and get
Mm-hmm.
tired. But
Great memories. Oh my goodness.
yes, so that is my story.
Oh, it's a great story, and I'm sure a lot of people can really identify and remember. I mean, you sparked so many memories of the actual Belle Isle part of seeing the fireworks. That was just a whole nother thing as opposed to seeing
Hmm.
it, from elsewhere. So yeah, so and our listeners, we'd love to hear from you too, some of your fond memories or where you were. Or maybe one particular show that you remember. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening to Daughters of the Great Migration. We look forward to hearing from you. You can contact us through Facebook. Our page, Daughters of the Great Migration, has links where you can download, record, or upload a story that you'd like to share with us. And you can also direct message us. We want to hear from you, our community.
This was Daughters of the Great Migration. Listen out for our next episode. Remember, be a part of the story.